Welcome in, all you fans of these fancy face toasters. We're back with part 3 of showcasing games that all of you can download right now on your Meta Quest VR headset. And yes, before all of you ask in the comments, this does work on the Meta Quest 3, the Quest 2, and the Quest 3S. However, I do want to warn you that all these are free during the time of this recording. There have been some games I've seen that have gone from free early access to being paid on full release and vice versa. So if you want to be able to know free games that you can download ASAP, as well as some other fun stuff in VR, make sure that when you subscribe, you turn on those notifications. But I refuse to ask for your subscription. I'm going to make sure I earn it by showcasing what all of you came in here to see right now. Free games for your Quest. Many of the VR community have nicknamed this the Free Bone Lab on Quest. It is a full physics engine sandbox game designed with social interactions in mind. While Downshot may not have a single-player campaign like Bone Lab, it does have a fully integrated native multiplayer with a lot of items to mess around with. The hitboxes and the weights, or as many of the VR community calls it, the physics, are fully fleshed out for a free VR game. You can join into lobbies and try to make some friends, or start your own lobby and see what you can discover. It also does help some of the chaos in public lobbies because the host can turn on and off permissions for those of you inside the game. But if the host ends up turning permissions on for everybody, you will witness chaos like nothing you've ever seen before. Trust me, alright? See this? Look into my eyes? I've seen war. But if you need something that helps you move just a bit faster, then you might like zipping around in this next VR game. This is a fun, free tagging-based game. It has modes in there like freeze tag, infection, racing, an oddball type game mode, and even a social hub where you and your friends can grapple around an entire city to explore. There are cosmetics, energy grapples, hand thrusters, a wingsuit, shooting EMP blasts at other players, multiple game modes, and different maps. The normal game mode, and a personal favorite of mine, is their freeze tag mode. The high adrenaline of zipping around through the different parts of the map, trying to avoid the enemy EMP and get a jump on them, not to mention the combination of using all the different movement methods just hits different. It's not only a fun time, but in my opinion, is one of the most underrated VR games out there. I have a blast every time I boot this up, and if you're only going to download one game on this list, I heavily encourage that it be this one. And a little secret between you and me is that I actually got to voice some lines for this game. So if you're a fan of the channel and you end up downloading the game, let me know down in the comments if you ended up hearing my voice. But if you'd rather blast waves of enemies with magic and swordsmanship, then you might like this next free VR game. This is a Sword Art Online fan-made game. And before you go and ask in the comments, yes, this is available on Quest 2 and in non-mixed reality as well, aka virtual reality. But I do show all the footage here in mixed reality because it felt pretty cool to fight these guys 6 stories up on a rooftop. It's got various swords, guns, and magic that you can use to battle a variety of enemies that all feel like they came straight out of SAO. At its core, it's a game where you can fight enemies that you choose, similar to Blade and Sorcery, but the art style and the aesthetic of the game are still pretty fun. Not only that, but you can't beat the price of free. Not only that, but the game does offer hand tracking in case you want to be able to swing a sword or shoot magic with your actual hands. However, if you'd rather cower in fear from your enemies instead of fighting them, then you might like this next game. Similarly to how the last game was a Sword Art Online fan-made game, this one is a Five Nights at Freddy's fan-made game. You start out working the night shift because it's the only work you could find in this economy. Is it realistic so far? But then you slowly notice the animatronics of the complex start coming to life, and just like in FNAF, you need to avoid them in certain ways. It can get pretty intense if you keep surviving the nights, and needless to say, I didn't make it all the way to the end. But overall, if you don't have the money to spend on FNAF Help Wanted 2 and would like a free horror game with some similar vibes, then look no further. However, if you want to run through the fear rather than cower from it, then you might like this next free VR game just a bit more. Being a delivery guy is scary enough with some of the neighborhoods I've seen around my hometown, but it can be even scarier when there's actual monsters roaming around. You start out in a pitch black neighborhood from what I can only imagine is downtown Detroit, and to defend yourself, you'll spawn in with different items that you can use to deter the creatures. But instead of a firearm, you scare them away in different ways. Some need to be tased, some are deterred by sound, and some can't even stand to their own reflection. I can relate. Why do you think I'm wearing this headset? The goal is to deliver all the pizza before the power in your tools run out. But if you suck at this game, then you might be a little bit better at this next free VR game. I wish I was joking, but the name of this game is literally called Suck It. The premise, of course, is to suck things through a vacuum. Hey, I see what you're commenting there. Get your mind out of the gun. You get to explore this map that you're shrunk down into and start sucking up small items. After filling up your tank, you deposit it at one of the stations scattered throughout the map. After depositing the items, though, you'll also become larger in size, allowing you to suck up larger items. And of course, the player with the largest size at the end of the timer wins. You can also sacrifice some resources in your tank to shoot it at other players that actually set them back. However, I'm kind of confused on the premise of this game because if I'm setting other players back and preventing them from sucking, am I technically helping them? But if you don't want to suck and actually want to have some strategy, then you might like plotting every micro movement in this next free VR game. Pain. That is literally the only way I can describe this game. This VR game was inspired by the game Only Up and wanted to give a Dark Souls type punishment to anybody with a face toaster. Not only do you have to worry about every tiny insignificant micro movement, possibly deleting all of your progress from the past several hours, but the movement feels like if you combine Gorilla Tag with literally every Mario Ice level imaginable. There aren't any power-ups or button combos or abilities. Just you, your hands, and your ability to lose all of your sanity in one risky jump. Be warned though, the game also has weird ads for brushing teeth, which we all know is a myth, right? But if you're sitting there and want to plan your next move, then this next free VR game might be just for you. And before we go any further, I did want to just ask one thing of all of you. This is a new venture that I'm starting, and if I've helped any of you out, please help me by leaving a like and commenting that you enjoyed this video, because I will absolutely love to spend more time and dedication towards making more of these videos more consistently, but I do need all of your help to make that happen. And keeping those notifications on, sharing it with any friends that you want to play these games with, and engaging with the videos is the best way to do that. But let's go ahead and talk about this next game. This VR game's demo actually gave me a lot more entertainment than I expected. This is an obstacle course with parkour and arm-based locomotion. And if you've ever seen or watched another VR game known as Stride, it is very similar to that. You have to swing your arms to move them and throw them into the air to jump. And unlike Never Down, you actually do have some additional components. You have a firearm that you can use to defend yourself, and if you collect these hourglass type looking objects floating throughout, then you can actually charge an ability to reverse time in case you make a mistake and start to fall or step into a trap. The objective is very simple: get through all the obstacles and reach the end. However, I will warn you that the first level really babies you through it. Like, I finally thought I was good at something for once until a projectile the size and shape of Bullet Bill from Super Mario came out of nowhere and blasted me into orbit faster than the newest NASA rockets. However, if you'd rather get more of a workout than just moving your arms, then you might like this next free VR game. If somebody asked me to describe what this game is, I would have to say it's a free full-body Beat Saber with custom YouTube songs, voice commands, mixed reality, and hand tracking. This is not just another VR game where you swing your arms, but provides full-body exercises in an interesting way. Similar to Beat Saber, where blocks come at you, you'll have two circular objects to the right and left of your body coming at you, along with a triangle that's supposed to represent where your head is supposed to be. These will correspond to what position your body is supposed to be in. This allows you to accurately perform workouts like crunches, push-ups, jumping, squatting, simply punching the cues, sprinting, or even using your play space data for wall-type workouts. It also has custom voice commands inside the game for you to say out loud that you want to pause the workout, skip the song, increase or decrease the difficulty, and more. You can play this in VR, mixed reality, with controllers, or hand tracking. I'd probably say that my favorite part is that it has a custom in-game browser for you to, instead of using their built-in songs, use songs straight from YouTube, and it plays them on a floating screen next to you without any ads. Additionally, the algorithm inside the game crafts cues coming at you in certain speeds and intervals depending on the song, basically crafting for you your own custom workout corresponding to your song that you choose in real time. Lastly, the game also features multiplayer in case you want to do this with some friends. It does have premium options inside the game, but most of the stuff is easily accessible with the free download. But if you'd rather punch people in the face for a workout, then you might like this next free VR game just a bit more. This game has a very simple concept. Punch and block attacks as you rampage through the streets, giving anybody a black eye that looks at you funny. I will be the first to admit this looks like a very low budget game, and that's because it is. The game trailer makes it look a lot better than what the actual in-game capture is, but it does deliver on what it's meant to do. An indie VR game with a simple concept for you to turn off your brain and let out some aggression on random civilians as you walk home. And there you have it, 10 more free VR games that you can download on your Quest right now. I hope this helped you out. I hope that you'll keep engaging with these videos so I can make more of them, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Keep those face toasters warm.